Katie the Novel Stitcher. It is Monday, November 28th, and this is Flosstube number 7. Thank you so much for being here with me, especially to my returning subscribers. I know time is precious, especially around the holidays, and I'm so happy that you're going to spend some time with me and see what I've been stitching and get some book recommendations. And for anyone new to my channel, thank you so much for checking this out. I hope you'll like what you see and consider subscribing and ringing the bell to get notifications for when I post new videos. And please like and add comments. Let me know, what you're up to, what your plans are for December, what you're stitching. I love to hear from all of you and get to know you and chat with you in the comments. It's one of my favorite parts of doing this, of course, is connecting with my viewers. So, please let me know how things are. For me, I had a really great last couple weeks. Alex and I had a lot of fun filming that Flosstube extra, so if you haven't seen it, go back and watch. It was about a week ago. I quizzed him on some cross-stitching terms to test his memory. He did pretty good, and he asked me some questions that you all submitted, and I'll have a giveaway winner for questions submitted that I'll announce in a little while. Other than that, a couple weeks ago, Alex and I went to Longwood Gardens. It's this beautiful, big indoor and outdoor botanical gardens that are in Pennsylvania. They have an indoor part that they decorate. Well, they decorate the whole thing for Christmas, but they decorate the indoors really splendidly with all of these Christmas trees and plants and lights. And then they decorate the outside too. So they do lights and all kinds of displays outside. We went with some friends at night to see it all lit up and got hot chocolate and just walked around. It was a pretty chilly night, but we had a lot of fun, and we really like going to Longwood at Christmas. It's just very magical, and it puts you in that Christmas spirit. As you can see, I've started doing some decorating. The tree will go up this week, and I'll have Alex come over and help me decorate it this weekend. So I am all ready for Christmas, but also had a good Thanksgiving. I hope if you are a viewer from the US that you had a lovely Thanksgiving too, that you got together with friends or family and had good food and a great time. On Thursday morning, Alex and I went to his friend's house. They hold a football game every Thanksgiving, so I've gone for the past couple years. Last year he got a little bit of a bump to the head, so I was hoping that this year he would not get injured, and luckily nothing happened. It was a beautiful day. It was like high 40s, low 50s, sunny, clear skies. He didn't get hurt. His team won, so it was a lot of fun just hanging out and being outside and being with some of his friends. And then that night we went and had dinner with his family, so it was nice to spend Thanksgiving with them. Really good food, and it was a really nice time. Then on Friday, I went down to Delaware to spend the rest of the weekend with my family. Alex did come down for a little bit, but I didn't want to subject him to them for the entire weekend, and I knew my mom wanted to spend some time just us. So my mom and I went to the outlets on Friday, which was, in hindsight, a bad idea. It was chaos. We barely found a parking spot, and there were lines out the doors for some of the shops. So we went to a couple places and then got out of there and actually went to some of the little downtowns near where they are in Delaware to shop local. And so we went to some of the stores around there and had just a nice afternoon. And then Alex came on Saturday, and we showed him around the area and got lunch and just hung out and watched some football. Penn State played. So it was just a really lovely weekend with my parents and having Alex come down for a little bit too. So it was pretty much perfect. Perfect Thanksgiving over here. And now it's time to get ready for Christmas, which seems insane, and work is going to be really busy, which is why I'm filming this at night. So hopefully the lighting's okay. It's getting pretty dark out. I don't love when it gets dark out early, but hopefully they're changing that. I heard rumors that we might not turn the clocks back or forward anymore. We'll see what happens with that, but I think I would like it for it to not get dark so early. But anyway, it'll be a busy next few weeks, but Christmas should be pretty good and relaxing as well. So let's talk stitching. So I have one project that I'm gonna have to show a picture of. That is a start, a finish, and a fully finish. So last weekend I was talking on the phone with my mom, talk about like once a week for a few hours, and They just moved, and so she doesn't have everything unpacked, and they're in a temporary rental right now because the house has some stuff that needs to be done before they can move in, and everything's a little bit, you know, in limbo with them right now with the move and everything. And so she got a little tree, a little fake tree, and put it up where they're staying now, and got some lights and put some decorations up, but she was feeling a little less Christmassy without being in a permanent home that feels like their own. And so I wanted to do something for her, so I stitched her a little ornament. And let me find it. Okay, here it is. I started that it was like Tuesday night to finish it, finish stitching it by Thursday, to then Thursday night after all the Thanksgiving festivities fully finish it to have it for when I went down for Friday. So that was like quick, but I chose a really small one so that I would get it done in time, and I'll try to avoid the glare here. So this is a Little House Needleworks Winter Petites. These just came out this December, and I did this one with the little deer. I don't know if they each have a little name, but I did the one with the little deer. And so I will show a picture of it here. I stitched it on a 28 count wheat lugana that I had in stash, and then used pretty much mostly the called for, whatever I had, or similar colors. So I think the brown's a little bit a lighter color, and the green might be slightly different, but I think it turned out really cute, and I just finished it. It's weird to talk about something when you're not holding it. There's just I can't even see the picture, but there will be a picture. But I finished it using fabric that I got at JoAnn's. They just have little packs of like Christmassy colored fabric. So the red, and then I used another piece of fabric to make the loop for the green, and that was just sticky board. I just put the cross stitch on one piece of sticky board and the fabric on another, and stuck them together. And then on the back, I just cut out a square of fabric to cover the back. And so I made that for her, and she was so excited to get it, and she really liked it, and she hung it on the tree right away. So there it is on the tree, and that was fun. So that is my start, my finish, and my fully finish all in one. Done in a few nights work. Well, I actually stitched it a little bit last Wednesday because I was working, but it was a pretty quiet day. So I had my laptop up, I was responding to emails and messages as needed, but I had a little bit of stitching time to work on that. So that was fun. And then my whips, I'll start with the ones I've made the least amount of progress on, to the ones I made the most amount of progress on. I didn't really, besides for that little one that I stitched, which, you know, took up a lot of last week, and then I didn't do any stitching pretty much at all over the weekend. I brought my stitching with me to my parents, but I was just spending time with them and enjoying that, so I did not actually do any stitching with them, but I did a little bit. So I worked on Christmas delivery for all of like a night, a couple hours, but I want to make sure I'm continuing to work on this one. It doesn't get lost in the shuffle. I would like to finish it for next Christmas if possible. So I might do like maybe the 24th and 25th of every month starting in the new year. I'll stitch on that one since that's like Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. So maybe I'll do something like that, which will make sure that I take it out. The only problem with that is I have to remember that it's the 24th and 25th, and that's what I want to stitch that night. So we'll see how that works. But let me know how you kind of rotate things, especially things that are seasonal. Like I'm not going to be wanting to stitch Santa all the time in February or March. I'm going to be kind of over winter and snow and Christmas. So I have to figure out how to keep myself inspired and wanting to stitch. So this again is on, I'm just looking at my notes because I just forget things. I don't know why, but this one is a 32 count vintage Stormy Night, and I'm using all the called for. So last time I think I had most of the sack done and the tree. And so I started on the sleigh down here. Just fold it over. And then this will be the little orange present that's next to his Christmas bag. So just a little bit of progress, but I think slow and steady will be the story for this one. And I think it's going to turn out really cute. Now, I thought I was smarter than this, but I figured I know how to measure and make sure I turn things right. And so I realized that this is going the wrong way. The fabric is longer this way. So I put it in the Q-snap incorrectly. So I had a moment of sheer panic where I was like, It's not that much to rip out, but if I had to rip all of this out, I probably would have cried. It'll fit. I'll have a little less of a margin than I probably wanted, maybe only like 1 inch to 1.5 inches, but it'll fit. But just double check when you're putting it in the Q-snap that your fabric is oriented the right way, because I thought I wouldn't make that mistake, and then I made that mistake. So this one probably had the least amount of stitching, so I'll show that one first, and then the next one, did I forget the pattern for this? Did I leave it on the table? Let me pause and get the pattern for this one. Be right back. Okay, I'm back with the pattern. So the next one that only got a little bit of stitching is Christmas Rolls. This I started because it's a stitch along from the Cornhusker State Stitchers. I am as far behind as behind you could be, but that's fine. For me, it's just a start along. I just thought it was really cute and wanted to get started on it. So it's got all the rules for Christmas, and I'm assuming at this point they're probably on the stocking one or the Build a Snowman. I don't even know where they're at in the stitch along because that's how far behind I am. So this is what I have. And so I think last time I had Christmas Rules done and the package, because I did change this to blues, which I mentioned, and maybe some of the Santa hat. So I did the little X's under the Santa hat. I did this little border here, and then and then the tree and the little presents under the tree. So I think this is super cute. It's coming along well. This is a 35 count mystery fabric. I just got it at my L&S as like shoved in a pattern as part of this little sidewalk sale they had. So I think it's 35. It said 35 on the pattern, and then this was inside, but I'm not actually sure if it's 35. It might be, but I think it's coming along cute. And I use slightly brighter colors. So I did not use the called for with this because I just, again, wanted to use stash. You think you have all the DMC colors, but there's 500 of them, or 450 or something. So you actually never do. And I figured like I should have most of the reds and greens, but I didn't. So I just used what I had that I thought was Christmassy. And I think they're brighter than this in real life. I think the colors that they chose even look a little darker on this gray. But I just used slightly brighter ones. And so this will be another one that I'll have to work on to try to get finished next year. So that's that one. If you want to join the stitch along, I think it's just Christmas Rules Sal. So if you have that one or want to start that one, you should think about it because it's fun. Then the next whip I worked on, you've all seen this one. I'll put what it will look like finished there because it's a PDF copy. This is 5th Day of Christmas by Liz Mathews. Oh, this makes a difference, but I'll do that anyway. And so I'm trying to remember, last time I think I had everything done here. And so I've just been working on all of this up here, which looking at it on the camera, it looks great. I'm very happy with this one. I will say, okay, so on the hoops somewhere I messed up. And I messed up, I guess, fairly badly because like the squares are off. Like when they don't line up, and I don't know what I did, but like I've had to fudge. I've had to do like mini, just like go over 2 of them, even though I'm doing 2 over 2. You can't even tell though. So the fudging that I did was fantastic. And it's good to be able to fudge on something like this. Okay, I'm back. My phone told me it was out of storage and it stopped recording. I'm gonna see if I can do the transition between this video and the other one smoothly, but it might not be smooth because I'm editing. I'm not a whiz. So hopefully it's not too awkward. But anyway, I was saying I needed to fudge a lot of this. And I think I did pretty good. I will continue to have to probably do that down here. Just the stitching, it's all off, but I'll make it work. I'm definitely not gonna be ripping out because I'm not even sure where in these I made the mistake. So we're not gonna worry about that. But I think it's coming along pretty well. I'm liking it. And I just need to finish all of this, which will probably actually take a good amount of time, but then this border won't take very long at all around the black, and then there's some crosses in black up here and down here. And so my goal is to finish this by Friday. It is Monday night. I'm filming. I will hopefully be able to work on this the next few nights and get it done by Friday, because I really want to fully finish it and display it before Christmas arrives. And then I have to figure out how to fully finish it. I was gonna put it in a frame. It's a little bit of an awkward size for a frame. I don't remember what the measurements come out to, but it's not like 8 by 10 or 11 by 14. It's like somewhere in between that. So I'll have to figure out how to fully finish it. If you have any thoughts, let me know. Something that I'd be able to do in the next week or two. And hopefully I'll be able to put this up and have that maybe in 2 weeks for my next video. Hopefully that will be a fully finished object. And then only one more whip. I've been working on Silent Night. That is a Country Cottage Needleworks. Really cute. Went with everyone's suggestion of the blue Dove 32 count lugana, using all the called for. And I pretty much have just sorry, I'm all over the place tonight, guys. I had a long day at work and I really wanted to film this, and now my phone's being mean and it's getting dark. There we go. That's what I want. Okay. So I think it's looking really cute. I like the little house. I think that's nice. I'm glad I went with the Weeks Dye Works. So I'm using Weeks Dye Works White Lightning, and then the rest will be called for DMC, but I really wanted to get that kind of variegation on the church to make it kind of look like stone, and I think it's coming along really nicely. And the house is like the biggest part of it. So it's a church. The church is the biggest part of it. So hopefully I will be able to do the rest pretty quickly. I was hoping to have it done a little bit sooner, but Thanksgiving didn't do much stitching this weekend, so that kind of cut into my stitchy time, but family time is just as important as stitching time. So I will get working on that, and we'll see. Maybe I'll finish it like by Christmas, and that's fine. I can fully display it the whole Christmas season next year. I will say, and I have a little bit of haul because of this, I more or less ran out of White Lightning. So there was one section, I think somewhere around here, that I needed to frog. I messed up, and then I probably, should have played thread chicken, where you have just a little bit at the end each time when you finish off your piece of thread, because I had just enough to finish this part of the church, but this little part up here, I was not going to have enough thread. I'm assuming it probably just calls for one skein, but if you mess up, then, you're probably gonna run out. So just a heads up, if you do this one, you might, if you tend to make a mistake and have to frog, or, get it tangled or something, you might want to get 2 skeins of White Lightning, but maybe that was just me. But then I needed to order another skein, of course, to finish this. And you can't just order one thing of floss. That's not going to make the shipping and all of the effort worth it. So you have to order a few other things. So, but I think this is going to look really pretty. I'm excited about that one. So that's it for my stitching. Giveaway winner. So last video was the Flosstube Extra with Alex. I took all the questions, I put you all in a spreadsheet, and I did a random number picker, and the number that popped up was number 4, and number 4 in the spreadsheet was Caitlin Britwum. Hopefully I'm pronouncing your last name correct, Caitlin, but Caitlin Britwum, B-R-I-T-W-U-M, Caitlin. If you are watching, please email me. I think my email address is, I should know this, novelstitcher@gmail.com. It's in the description, and I'll stick it down there. Please email me from the email address you want the Etsy card sent to, and then I will send you your $25 Etsy card that you won for asking a question. So thank you so much to you and to everyone who asked questions that Alex got to ask me in my Flosstube Extra. That was a lot of fun to have those come in. So that's it for the stitching giveaway winner. I will do 2 Flosstubers I think you should check out. We'll do haul and then we'll do some books. So the 2 Flosstubers I recommend you watch if you're looking for someone new. The first one is Stitching by the Shore. That is Laura. And I really like watching Laura because I think she uses very different kind of fabrics. She uses colorful fabrics. I think I'm trending right now more toward neutral. Haven't experimented a lot with different funky bright blues or bright pinks or different modeling on fabrics. And so I would definitely check Laura out if you want to see how stitching could look on kind of a funkier fabric. She does some slightly full coverages, she does smalls, she does all kinds of things. She even does some cross-stitch scrapbooks where she's putting her cross-stitch kind of into kind of a scrapbook or a memory book, which I really like the idea of. So that's Stitching by the Shore. So give her a watch. And then my other recommendation is Niecy Lynn. She's just Niecy Lynn on Flosstube, and that's also her name. And I just think Niecy just stitches such pretty things, and she always has all her stitching set up behind her and talks about what she, you know, has behind her or what else she's working on. And I think she just stitches some of the most beautiful things. And I just like hearing her chit chat and talk about her life and her family. So she's a really fun one to watch. So that's Niecy Lynn. So check out Niecy and Laura if you're looking for some new Flosstubers and haven't discovered them already. And so haul. So like I said, had to get that skein of white Lightning. So I went on Etsy and I decided to try out Farmer's Attic. I think I had liked them, favorited them or whatever, because I saw that they do a lot of patterns and fabrics, and they were in Pennsylvania, so I figured I would try them out because I figured shipping would be kind of quick to get my fabric. And so they have really nice packaging. They have these little cards that they put on top of your fabric. They circle what, you know, size it is. They give you what it is. This is a 16 count Aida of beautiful beige, so you can stick this in your bag and remember. So Farmer's Attic on Etsy, so that's where I got all this from, and they were having some sales, I think. So I just got some beautiful beige Aida. It's a little bit lighter because of the lighting here. It's a little bit darker than this in person, but just some 16 count Aida. Can't go wrong with a neutral 16 count for stitching anything small or whenever anything props up. So I thought that would be good just to have in stash. And then I wanted to try something slightly different because all my fabrics are fairly neutral. So I tried, this one is Freeze or Frez, I don't know, I think maybe it's French. F-R-I-E-Z-E, Freeze. So this one is an Atomic Ranch is the dyer, and it's also a 16 count Aida. And I have no idea what I'm gonna stitch on this, but I just thought it was cool. So it is like a mottled pink and blue, a bit more pink than it's showing on the screen. Definitely got a bit more pink, but yeah, I thought it was kind of cool. I don't know what I'm gonna stitch, something spring, right? Or some sort of sampler. So I got a sampler from Blackbird's Designs. And so I'm wondering, I don't know, you're gonna have to let me know if you think that the pattern I'm about to show you would work on this. And remember that this is slightly pinker. I don't know if it will. I think it might not. I might want to do this pattern on something more neutral. Maybe something mottled, but more in brown tones. But I'll maybe save this for something fun, something funky. I'll think about it. But this is the pattern I decided to get. All Joys for Thine by Blackbird. I haven't done any Blackbirds. I know a lot of people like Blackbirds. I thought All Joys for Thine is like a nice little saying. I thought this was really cute. I like the little bugs. They make me think of like fireflies. So this will be fun. Maybe a good one to stitch just in the winter, just kind of not holiday themed or anything like that. So I thought that was cute. And it's inspired by this one. This is what inspired it. So I think that's cool. This is a small English motif sampler stitched by Catherine Williams early in the 19th century, but no exact date added. So I'll be stitching that one sometime come spring. That's it for the stitching, I think. Plans, just finish what I'm working on, or some of what I'm working on. Finish 5th day of Christmas. Try to finish Silent Night, hopefully before Christmas comes. Keep putting in a few stitches on Christmas rules and Christmas delivery. So Christmas, Christmas, Christmas for the stitching for now. And then I'll have in an upcoming video plans for 2023, or what I'm doing next after all the Christmas stitching. I don't even know myself what my 2023 plans are. I think I shared a little bit of it. I want to do that spring Quaker. Hasn't snowed here yet, but that will be my snow day start. I don't know when we're going to get snow. I thought there was going to be a little bit last week. There was some on the weather app. There was a slight chance, but it just rained. So that one will work on that one when it snows, or if it doesn't snow by mid-January, I'll just say once the temperatures dip below a certain amount. And then I do want to work on Winter Rose Manor by Brenda Gervais, so that was another one. So those are like my two big, at least into New Year 2023 plans, is to start and work on both of those. And then we'll see what I decide to do. I know a lot of people do Whip Go, where you create kind of like a bingo board and certain numbers are called out certain months and you work on that then. I think that one's if you have a lot of whips and you say, I'm gonna work, you know, in September, I'm gonna work on this whip for 5 hours this month, and you kind of set that kind of goal. I might do it because I only have like 7 or 8 whips. I might do it so I stitch on something Christmas for a certain amount of hours a month, stitch on something featuring books or something like that. So I might make it more themed. So I'll figure out what I want to do for that, and I'll let you all know. So now we're gonna move on to the books. So if you're not interested in the stitching, I just went through the stitching. If you're not interested in bookish talk, you're only here for the stitching, thank you so much. Please like and subscribe. I won't stumble over my words as much in the next video. Hopefully I'll be filming earlier in the day instead of after a long work day. But thank you so much for checking this out. If you're only interested in the stitching, hope you'll move on to another Flosstube. And for those of you interested in books, let's get to that. I have to move all my stuff because I put it on top of the books. So, okay. So, I think you all know from my video 2 weeks ago, or my last actual Flosstube video, that I am reading Invisible Child and I'm reading Less is Lost. Didn't do much reading in the last 2 weeks, to be honest. I think I read another 30 or 40 pages of Invisible Child. Still really good. Still really enjoying that one. And then Less is Lost, I think maybe 10, 15 pages. Also good, just haven't been in that reading zone lately. So I'm gonna show you one book I bought this weekend at a used bookstore near my mom and dad, and then I will give some book recommendations. So the first book is Maisie Dobbs by Jacqueline Winspear. And I've seen this around, or at least I've seen her name around, and it just sounded really cute. It was $5 at the used bookstore. So support your small businesses, support your used or local bookstores over the holidays. So I decided to pick this one up. Maisie Dobbs is the daughter of a struggling greengrocer. When she was 13, she was sent to work as a maid for London aristocrats. She studies her way to Cambridge and serves as a nurse on the front lines during the Great War. Now it's 1929. And she has opened up her own detective agency. And her first assignment, a seemingly open and shut infidelity case, will reveal a much deeper, darker mystery, forcing Maisie to revisit the horrors of the war and the ghosts she left behind. So it sounds like a me book. I don't need a ton of mystery or like detective-y things, but I really loved Agatha Christie. Back when I was a teenager, I read like almost all of hers. And I like history, so I think this will be a fun one. So this might be a good one to read, you know, over the holidays. Something kind of fun and light, but intriguing. And so then I have a couple previous reads that I'm going to recommend to you. So this one I read earlier this year. I think it was this year. And I'm gonna have to read some of the description because I'm one of those people who I read a lot and then you'll ask me like, oh, what was that book about? And I'll be like, I don't know, but I liked it. So I don't always remember all the details. I remember like the broad strokes of this one, but not all the details. So this is the 100 Years of Lennie and Margot. And so I remember they're both sick. They're both in a hospital. Lennie is young, she's 17, and Margot is older, she's 83. And so yeah, they kind of run into each other, I think in like an arts class. They hold an arts class for the people who are staying for a longer time in the hospital. Lennie and Margot are the kind of people who, I think Lennie has, I don't want to say cancer, it might be cancer. Yeah, they have more chronic illness that requires them to stay in the hospital. So they meet in an art class. They get along despite the age gap. And they just create this really heartwarming friendship. I think they decide, they both combined, they've been alive for 100 years, so 17 and 83. And so they decide to create 100 paintings to showcase their 100 years. And so they either draw or paint or some way show a moment in their lives. And so obviously Margot has a lot more moments to share, but Lennie has some special memories that she shares as well through art. And it's just a beautiful book. It's beautifully written. It's just a beautiful friendship. You'll cry. Have tissues handy. They're both in the hospital, so I think that's obvious why you might cry. So just a recommendation. If you don't like sad books, maybe not. Or if you know, you yourself has someone who might be sick or in the hospital, then that might be a hard read. But really, really lovely story. So I liked that one. And I think they're British. I love the Brits. And then the next one, I think this one would appeal to most people as long as you don't mind something with a little bit of sadness in it. This one's a bit more quirky. This is The Cat Who Saved Books by Sosuke Natsukawa. I might have pronounced that wrong. I don't know Japanese, but hopefully I was close. I do like the Japanese culture. And so this one is translated. So I don't think I read a ton of translated books, so it's kind of nice to dive into some more international reads and read something that's been translated. And you know, you hope that the translator did a really good job of portraying what the initial author wanted to convey. But this one is about a high school student. He's a little bit awkward. Rentaro, his grandfather passes away, kind of leaving him on his own, and his grandfather owned a used bookstore. And so he has to kind of decide what to do with the used bookstore. Does he keep it? Does he try to sell it? You know, because he's young. He is in high school and he's got his own life to live and he can't really, you know, or does he want to really spend all his time in this bookshop? And he's kind of quiet. He doesn't have a ton of friends. And so while he's deciding, you know, maybe I'm going to sell the bookstore and he starts packing things away, a cat shows up, just wanders down one of the aisles and starts talking to him, which he's like, that's weird. And the cat kind of takes him on different adventures. It's kind of about the power of books and how we treat books and what books should mean to us. And so the cat takes him to instances where someone is cutting up books to make them shorter. So they're going to cut parts of the book out and make a shorter book because people don't have time. They're busy, busy, busy. So who has time to sit down and read a whole book? And basically he's destroying books and, you know, taking away some of the beauty and the meaning of them by trying to kind of synthesize them down. And so it's up to Rentaro to kind of like convince these people like, hey, what you're doing, it's not, you know, you're doing it because you love books and you do want people to consume and to read them, but you're ruining kind of what a book is and what the point of the book is by, you know, cutting it down and condensing it, or, you know, publishing books that aren't really, you know, just publishing whatever just for the sake of publishing it. Kind of takes away from the specialness and the magic of books. And then Rentaro's friend, whose name is going to escape me, and she might not actually be named in the description, which is Interesting. But one of his friends, one of his high school friends, she comes by because he's like going on these adventures with his cat, and his grandfather passed away. So she's bringing him his schoolwork because he hasn't been going to school. And they're friends. They kind of like each other, but you know, teenagers, they're dancing around this kind of thing. And the cat ends up talking to her too. And so she goes on adventures with some of the adventures with him, and kind of opens up his Rintaro's eyes to like come back to high school, come back into the world, be a part of the world again, like be my friend, like you have friends, you're not alone, like don't sell the bookstore, like be part of this community. And so I don't know, it's weird. It's because there's a talking cat, and then there's people cutting up books, you know, walk down the walls of the bookstore, and there's, you know, enter into a new world, and there's these weird people doing weird things to books. So it's a bit of a strange one, but it's kind of cute. It's kind of fun. It's a really short read too. Like if you like something that's a little bit different, you know, if you want to try out a book and, you know, that's been translated, that kind of looks at another culture, and kind of the love of books and literature in another culture too. It's a good one. It's a fun one. So those are my bookish recommendations. So let me know what you're reading. Let me know what you're stitching. What are your plans for the holidays for the next, you know, 4 weeks or so before Christmas, if you celebrate Christmas, or just plans for winter or heading into the new year. Let me know what's going on with you. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you all have a great day. Bye.